I mean, I don't care.
That's so funny. I realized I'm probably going to drive my kids crazy because they're upstairs asleep, but it's going to echo down here and they're going to be able to hear me talking.
Well, that's why I came out here, because my kids, everyone's sleeping in my trailer.
Yeah. So I was telling Chris, you guys were on spring break, right, Kyle?
Yeah, we're on spring break.
Gotcha. I think we got a couple weeks, so we do spring break over here.
The sun's coming up, though.
Yeah, I could see the moon behind the tree there. It's weird with the fall back because it was just starting to get light in Boise at this time, and now we're back to dark.
It was kind of hard to wake up this morning knowing that I'm on vacation. It was like, oh my gosh.
I know.
I almost started
Morning,
a fire.
Angela and Samantha. The ladies up early this morning. Good morning from Houston. Raining in Houston. Kyle, Samantha wants to know where you are.
I'm camping in San Clemente right now. I'll end up just silencing myself sometimes. I'm gonna probably have to cough. It's chilly out.
That's okay, and you're fine. It's not really that loud anymore. Good morning, Ryan. We've got Northern California, we've got New Hampshire. Awesome. All right. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. We have a special guest. Real quick, we'll announce, just so you guys aren't wondering who he is before we kind of get into what we're doing today. So we want to welcome Josh Pierce from Iowa City, Idaho. Not Idaho. So funny. I'll tell you a joke about that in a minute. Iowa City, Iowa. And he owns and operates Carousel Auto Appearance. And he is our guest co-host today to help us answer questions about P&S detail products and detailing in general. So welcome, Josh. We appreciate you joining us this morning. You can let everybody know kind of just a quick background, kind of like how many years you've been in business, that kind of stuff. And then we will get into the meat and potatoes of I should say coffee and the bead maker of bead maker and coffee.
Morning, Sam. So I've been in the business for probably 10 years or so. IDA certified, skills validated, Marine certified. Been through Rennie's training, been through the Rupes training.
Yeah, I saw you just went there last week, right?
Yep, it was pretty cool.
How was that? That facility is really awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you for joining us. We know it's early here on these Monday mornings, but we will have a good time. And so Kyle, wow, it's gotten a lot brighter in the last 5 minutes where you are.
Yeah.
So Kyle, why don't you tell everybody where you are since you don't have the typical background?
Yeah, so I'm actually camping for spring break with my family down at the beach in San Clemente at the state park. So I thought I'd do Bead Maker and coffee outside today. You can see the moon in the background, and there's someone's RV back there, and that's where the ocean is. I kind of tried to point it towards the ocean.
That's awesome.
It's a little too loud over by the ocean. It's a little too loud over here because of the freeway. So either way, happy to be with you guys, and I'm excited to have Josh here. This is something we're going to try and do more often, is bring on some of our fans of the products and have them help us ask questions or answer questions. You know, Bead Maker and Coffee is not a typical, you know, podcast or live where we just talk detailing. We actually want to get your questions, and we asked Josh to come on because he's a fan, and I know he'll have some great feedback on how to use our products and help us answer everyone's questions.
Yep. Awesome. Very cool. Well, so I told you before we began, Josh, that I was going to ask you some kind of hot seat questions that I did not give to you ahead of time, just because I kind of wanted to surprise you with them. So one thing is, the first one is just, what is your hands down absolute favorite PNS product?
Bead Maker.
Cool. Awesome. And then what has been your favorite project that you've been able to work on so far as a professional detailer? Like either one car or one project. What's been your favorite project?
We did like an 87 Ferrari 328 GTS that had been sitting in a barn for 20 years. Had about 50 hours into it. It was just really cool. I mean, that old school single stage paint.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Awesome. Very cool. That is great. All right. Well, Kyle, you ready to go into what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks? It's kind of been a little bit crazy busy, right?
Yeah, I've been really busy. Actually, you know, it's kind of funny. I've been doing a lot more retail work again. I haven't been doing as many airplanes, and so I actually have things to talk about besides the same products every week for the last 11 months, as we've been doing a lot of planes for a company. So last week, I had the opportunity to work on a 1989 Ford Bronco that hadn't been washed in 20 years. The tag on it was from 2001.
Oh my goodness.
And it literally had 21 years of just dust on it. And when we pulled it out and washed it and clayed it, we noticed that one side of this Bronco, the black single stage paint that was on it, was completely gray. And it didn't make sense why. The owner told me that he thinks that the dealership repainted part of it. And I think this was the section that wasn't repainted. So we used Kyle's Boat and RV Restorer, and I ended up using a yellow Buff and Shine pad and my Flex 3401, and just completely brought all the light back to this Bronco. It was really cool. I'm gonna send Chris the picture of the paint because it was just gray. I have no idea why it was like this, but
yeah, we've had a lot of feedback of that Kyle's Boat and RV on single stage paint. I've used it myself, and holy cow, it really, when you need, like, you're just, you know, when you need that super crazy hydration, it really, really makes a huge difference. I've used it on 2 really beat up single stage cars, and yeah, it is a lifesaver.
That's what Kyle's
lifesaver.
was originally made to be. When it
Mhm.
was in its original name and formula, it was for
Right.
the single stage.
Yeah.
But this is the first single stage paint car I've polished in
Mhm.
probably 3 years, 4 years, except for maybe in Monterey,
Yeah.
and my own business. So you don't do it that often. And so that's why using Kyle's was so great, because that's what it was originally designed for.
That's awesome.
And so it brought back the shine. It was a fun project to work on.
That sounds fun. And black. Wow.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
black. I mean, if it was a white Bronco, I would have, it reminded me of O.J. Simpson's Bronco. I thought it
Yeah.
would have been so cool. It was a lot of fun to work on. Washing 21 years of dirt away. It was like working on a barn find. So
Cool.
it was a blast.
Very cool. So Tom Kirby's asking for a link to your discussion on polishing RV aluminum siding. Do we think he's talking about your MTE talk?
Maybe.
Tom,
We'll
I
have
think,
to have him reach out on
yeah.
and clarify
If
that a
you're
little
talking
bit.
about his MTE talk where he talked about RV detailing and pricing and stuff, that is actually on the PNS Detail Products YouTube page. Um, and so you can find the link there. Otherwise, we'll make sure you get a link later. But if that's not what you're talking about, just reach out to Kyle. You can reach out through Messenger to him personally or through the PNS Detail Products. We'll make sure that we help you get that link that you're looking for. And Marcus
Yeah,
Parsley's here this morning. So good morning, Marcus. Thanks for joining us.
man,
Um,
he
all
is
right. So
a
Josh,
beautiful man.
Josh, what in the last couple of weeks, what have you had any details or products that kind of stand out that have been kind of stand out in your mind?
So we did a 1974 Jensen Keeley, which is just a
Okay.
British sports car, single stage paint. It was pretty trashed out, hadn't been taken care of probably 30 years. We used Eagle Maker and deep finished and had that
Okay.
thing look brand new by the time we got done. We made
That's
a TikTok.
awesome.
We made a TikTok on it that was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. But
That's awesome. Was it green? I'm trying to
no,
remember which one that was.
It was black.
Oh, okay, cool. Very cool. That is so great. It's funny how much single stage is so fun, right? And I think a lot of people are super scared of single stage. I know I was in the beginning, but man, it is so fun to work on. So fun. You just get, amazing transformations, not like today's paint. So very cool. All right. So Marcus is in his recliner in the bluegrass state. That is awesome. Awesome. All right. So one product that
I was
for
gonna
me.
pull up a picture real quick of
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it.
Josh's car, but you know what? I'm having troubles doing it. Let me see if it works. Yeah, it's not letting me screen share right now. Interesting.
Uh-oh.
Never mind then.
All
Sorry.
right. No problem. So one product that stands out in my mind that, and I know that we joke and we say that I have my favorites, but I really do. But one for me that's been kind of a big deal the last couple weeks has just been Clarity Cream. It's just one of those products that I'm just continually in awe of, and it just makes such a huge difference. So even obviously I use it, all the way around on the cars when I'm doing coatings, and I do a lot of them, but sometimes when, I'm just doing a detail and you get done and it's not part of the package, to do water spot removal and all that. But especially now that I have the little pixie, which I'm sure you guys see from my TikTok, it's like my new favorite tool, the little PXE 80. It's just so easy to grab that and just buzz over the windows real fast. And it makes such a huge difference. And so I had a car come in, and it wasn't like the typical water spots. It was more of it was just all the outlines. Like it didn't look like, you know what I mean? Like there was no water spotting or calcium. What is that stuff? Like calcium on the
Yeah,
window. It was just the outlines. And so it was pretty faint, but you could totally see it. And, so I just grabbed the polisher, polished it out, took me, 3 minutes, and it just made the car look completely different and completely finished. And I just love that product to be able to make such a huge impact in almost no time. I just love that. And then I had another car that just had, I think it was a Toyota Sequoia, and it literally only just had one piece of chrome right there at the top of the grill where the hood meets the grill. And it was all water spotted. There was no water spots anywhere else on the car, but this one piece of chrome. And so I just grabbed out the clarity cream on a rag and just, polished it by hand real fast. And it just completely cleared it up. And it's just one of those products that every time I grab it, I just go, oh my gosh, this is so good. So that's
I can add to that.
Yeah.
We did a Ford Expedition for the same owner of the Bronco. We came back a week later. Now this guy has dogs, and he owns a chicken farm, and the interior is at its worst. So I was so focused on cleaning the interior that I didn't really look at the glass until we were all done. So I look at the back window and I told my guys, I'm like, hey, that glass looks terrible. Grab the Pixie, grab the other battery powered Flex. Let's clarity cream this window really quick. So me and one of my guys, I polished all the perimeter and the edges around the hinges and around the rear wiper blade. And my other guy polished all the large sections. And in less than 2 minutes, completely changed how the glass looked. It completely cleaned it up, looked deep, fresh again. And I said, you know what we need to do? And they're like, yeah, we know. They were not happy. I said, let's polish all the glass on this thing really quick. So for maybe 10 minutes, we just buzzed all the windows on this. And I had one guy wipe, me and the other guy polished, and completely brought this vehicle back, years. And it looks so good. And so I told them, you know what, guys, from now on, we just got to polish the glass on the outside. Then we don't really have to clean it. Like we don't have to use a glass cleaner because this is going to clean it. We wipe it off and it's done. So we're kind of working that into the services of older vehicles, or vehicles that have been neglected like this one, that we're just going to do clarity cream on the outside of everything. And I think I'm just going to add that to my service, and maybe charge a little bit for it for that time, that 10 or 15 minutes, not anything, significant, but it will completely just set the vehicle to a whole other level.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool. My guys all looked at me like, I know what Kyle's going to want to do now. And I said, you guys are right, because we're going to do it right. And so we did.
I love it. I love it. Josh, do you use clarity cream?
Yep. We use quite a bit of it.
I love it. So good. Yep. Mike Botello says he loves clarity cream. He just used it on Saturday. Okay. So everybody get your questions in, but I have one question, Kyle, that we keep forgetting to answer, and I feel bad every week. So we occasionally get questions emailed in or sent in through Messenger and whatnot. And so we have a friend over in the Netherlands, Gabriel, and he was here a little bit ago, but it looks like he had to leave. So I want to make sure we get in his question because he'll come back and listen to this. So his question is, and I'm hoping that Josh and Kyle can help me with this because this is not a subject I know anything about. So his question is he just wants to get the discussion, what is the difference between acid and alkaline products, and when you choose one over the other?
Okay. We can touch on this and give our best opinion. Yeah. I think the best person for this would be Dave, or even bringing on Keith. Since Keith has so much information on the car wash side. Chemical knowledge, but really the car washes live by this. They're using acids and alkaline based cleaners all the time, whether it's in the touchless wash or if it's acids that they're using on wheels or on vehicles. So what is the exact question again?
He just said he just wants to know the difference between acid and alkaline products, and then what are the benefits, and when would you choose one or the other, is his exact question. So maybe we just save that one for Dave.
I could do my best at it, but from what I understand, using acids when I use an acid in my own business, I can talk to that. It's usually to remove calcium deposits, or things such as, I've even done it for cement. It'll also remove fallout. Acids will dissolve raw metals, so iron. So when you're trying to clean that, you also use it to brighten aluminum, and that is pulling out the debris from the pores of the aluminum, whatever that may be. More alkaline is going to be for our degreasing, removing of greases, oils, and that type of road grime. And so depending on the application is where you would choose to use one or the other. I think everyone needs to understand that whenever you use either one, you have to neutralize them. And water does not neutralize acid, and water doesn't neutralize degreasers very well. You really, it's on the acid side though. So you got to make sure that you always neutralize an acid wheel cleaner with a base.
Yeah.
That's as much as I can talk about. I know Keith and Bob and Dave and others can go really in depth to it as a detailer. That's as much as I use. I used our water spot remover last week on some wheels. I used it on paint, and then afterwards I used Brake Buster to neutralize it, and then I rinsed it off. So really, that's all I need to know.
Cool.
I don't need to go too into it. Josh, what do you think?
No acid for me. We just use a spot remover now and then, but that's it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. We've got lots of good mornings. We must not be able to see everybody that's joining us, but it looks like Terry Foreman's here. So good morning, Terry. That's awesome that everyone's joining us. And then we've got Zach Bernal here he is now in Coeur d'Alene, which is awesome. He joined us
formerly of San Diego.
Yep. And he's this weekend, which we should probably talk about that. So he joined us this weekend over in Redmond, Oregon. And so he's here. He just says, good morning, Sydney, Kyle, and Josh. So we were just, Keith and I were just in Redmond, Oregon this past weekend at Shane Mayfield's shop. He's in the comments too, it looks like, which is awesome. So he has Perfection Auto Salon or Perfection Plus Auto Salon in Redmond, Oregon. It's so awesome to be able to go into other people's shops and work. And when they open the door to other detailers, it's always such a great experience. And we had a ton of detailers join us, way more than we were expecting. So we did a coding class on Friday. Then we had an IDA meet and greet. And then also Friday morning, Prentice St. Clair, who's our director of training, did IDA certification in a day. And then on Saturday morning, he did skills validation and had several proctors there. That was so cool. We had Adam Garvin come over, Jason Barker from Portland. Then the Kimballs were there. And then we did an open garage. So we had kind of several mini events all in one. And it was busy bees all the time. And it was super fun. So we just got home from that last night. So that was super, super cool. All right, so should we jump into questions?
Yeah, actually, real quick, Prentice made a great point about how.
Did he answer about our pH?
Yeah, high pH
Awesome.
and low pH products can be dangerous materials to humans, and that's very true. Very, very true. And actually, acids, you do not ever want to get them on your hands, because acids eat calcium, and what is your bones made of? What are your bones? Yeah. So it can actually lead to bone problems. So, and it does not go away. So really you got to be careful with that. Wear gloves, wear a respirator, and the same with alkaline products. It turns your hands to like soap. I got my hands in some of our hot shot, and my hands were slippery all day, and then they completely were dry for hours. I had to like soak them in lotion. So be very, very careful.
For sure.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into questions now. And William, I'm going to hurt you.
William said, can we replace Kyle with Josh from now on?
He's better looking. He has a better beard.
Too funny. Too funny. All right. So we've got Bill. Thanks for joining us, Bill. I know I saw your message that you haven't been able to join us for a while, so we're happy you're back. Okay, so Bill says, so over the weekend I removed a decal from my rear window. I coated it with View around the first of the year, so there was obviously an outline from the decal, and he polished it off. I recoated the whole window. Will this be a problem? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a problem at all, as long as the window, I'm assuming you mean just the part where the decal was. You only polished that part. It shouldn't be a problem. And here's the deal. If it is, it's going to be a really easy fix. So if you notice like that it looks different or that you have variation there, super easy just to start over. You'll just take Clarity Cream, polish the whole window evenly, and start all over on the whole window. Won't be a big deal. Clarity Cream will take the View off. So if you find that you have variation, just completely start over and it shouldn't be too big of a deal at all. But you should be good. Yep, you should be good. You should be good. All right, next up, Mike says, what is a good technique for a 1-year-old clogged PPF?
Well,
Kyle.
Josh, do you have a lot of experience with PPF?
Yeah, we apply a decent amount of it.
Have you done any repairs on it?
No, not really. Usually it's just
Okay.
when they mess it up, we pull it off and put new on.
Well,
Yeah.
If it's only a year old and it's kind of clogged and maybe some light spotting, I would take a finishing pad on a dual action polisher, low speed, and give it a light polish with probably something like Ultra Coat polish, or you could try Kyle's Boat and RV Restore. They tend to clean the surface. You can clay the PPF also if you wanted to clay it to get off any buildup and fallout. But if it's only a year old, it should be easier to clean up and then go ahead and re-coat it. I assume that's what he's talking about, clogged, is the coating isn't performing. And redo that. Hopefully it's not from, water spots sitting on it.
Yeah.
That's usually not a good thing on PPF. You let water sit on it forever. You can't dig those out very well, and you don't want to overheat it.
Yeah, he said it does have ceramic on it, so that helps. That helps. So
I would just do a lot of light passes.
Yeah. Yep. Do that, or you can use kind of a bit of a stripping soap that shouldn't hurt the ceramic. You could try that too. But yeah, it's most likely the coating that's clogged, not necessarily the PPF. That's the part that threw me off. So yeah, just try one of those processes. You should be good. Let us know how that goes. That's one of those things that it depends on the variable of why it's clogged, and is it truly clogged and all that kind of stuff. So try one of those, and we can keep giving you new suggestions if that doesn't work.
Yeah, let us know how it goes. I need to do the same thing on my truck. The bead fillers have been pretty beat up, and they are kind of hazy, and they're curb rod about 2.5, 3 years ago now. So I would like to polish those myself and clean them up when I make time for it. But I want to know what you ended up doing with it, because my neighbor's sprinklers have hit the side of my truck multiple times, and I've had to clean it multiple times, and that's one area I've neglected.
Yeah.
Let me know what you find out, and I'll let you know what I find out.
Cool. All right. So Chris says, good morning. I've been using Legend Ceramic, and we did a full size truck, did 2 coats, but still had a half bottle left. Are we not using enough product? Probably not. To do a full size truck, I generally use half the bottle. So I think just in the fact that you did 2 coats, there's enough on the truck. So that's the good news. There's enough on the truck, but I would say you're probably not using enough. And the kind of the challenge there is you just want to make sure you're not getting dry spots like that. For me, I feel like I need to use a little bit more of the Legend just because it is thick, that you just want to make sure that you're not leaving too fine of a layer behind, because we want to make sure that there's enough of the product to cross link with the paint. So I think you're fine because you did 2 coats, but I definitely think, as a general rule for me, and I've done a lot of Legend, is that I'm a half a bottle, especially on a full size truck, half a bottle every time, just for 1 coat.
I,
So
I
yes.
learned my lesson with Legend when it first came out. I was trying to baby it, and I wasn't using enough product, and it was causing problems for me. Once I started using more Legend on the applicator, everything got so much easier.
Yeah. And Josh, you do a ton of Legend. So what's your kind of general consumption?
I probably use way too much then, because I put it on pretty thick.
I do too.
We'll do 3/4 of a bottle for a full size car.
Yeah.
I like to put it on thick. I mean, it's good coating.
I do too. I have found that with Legend, because I do the 1 coat Legend, 1 coat Soul. And so I find that I just get a really good finish. It almost makes it easier to wipe off if you're using a little bit more, because you get the true even flash times. If you are not putting enough on, you're going to have one area dry out too fast and one area not be ready. And so, I don't skimp on the Legend. And I feel like I'm leaving behind a really good, strong base layer. And it's kind of almost, insurance well, it's not overused, but a good layer of it, so I don't skimp on it. So yes, I think definitely, use more. I think you're fine because you did 2 coats. I don't think you need to go back and do anything, but definitely try more next time for sure.
Josh, you mentioned earlier that you made a TikTok. Have you guys noticed, both of you, that I've seen a lot of TikToks lately where people are using an applicator and they're not using the whole applicator. They're like kicking it up and only using like part of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing I've never noticed before till recently. Some technique, I don't know where they're learning it from. I like to use the entire applicator. I don't know why that people are doing it that way, but I literally in the last 2 weeks have seen probably
I've
6 or 7 TikToks.
Yeah.
And
I've noticed that too, where they're almost holding up the side of it and pulling.
Yeah. I don't get why they're doing that. I've been trying to figure it out. I don't know. But I just thought I'd bring it up because it's definitely something I think it's not. I mean, to each their own, but I want a nice flat application. I want as much product on the surface as possible. It's not like you're going to reuse that side of the applicator. So why not use the whole applicator? And you may use your fingertips and actually cause some marring instead of keeping it flat and level.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Just an observation. I thought it was odd.
Awesome. All right. Chris, do we have another question? I still have more too that I can throw in that we keep not getting to. So
just some comments. Kyle, on your TikTok videos you were talking about, are these like reputable detailers, or probably guys that don't have a lot of experience?
No, 2 of them were actually reputable product brands that they were applying, and 2 of them actually, they are. I'll tell you about them later. I just thought it was interesting. I'll even send you guys the TikToks if I ever come across them again. But I just thought it was. I've never seen that until recently.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Marcus says you're going to toss it anyway when you're done. Why increase the odds of micro marring? And that is totally me. We just did a coding class on Saturday or Friday, and those questions come up all the time about, are you saving this? Are you saving that? And no. And I think that if you're concerned about your consumables, up your coding cost by $5 or $10, but for me, it's just not worth the risk of, using that applicator again or using that towel again. I just toss everything. And I just I count that as part of my cost of doing business. But it's not worth it to me to try to reuse them. Now, occasionally, I will, if I've only used one side of the applicator for like Legend,
Yeah.
I do have a Ziploc bag that is marked, trash applicators. And what I'll use that other side for is like down the road, if I just have some trim that I need to coat, or if I need an applicator for solution finish, or, something that is not going to be touching paint and, absolutely could not cause any problem. I might use that other side for, a tire dressing or a trim restorer or something like that. But I put them in a bag so they're completely separated, and I would never use it for another coating. That's for sure.
So we have Sharpies in my van,
Mhm.
or paint pens, and I'll just put an X through the side that we used, so we know that.
Mhm.
And we've saved them and used them for polishing exhaust tips, or like you said, solution finish or other
Mhm.
things. But
Yeah.
I would never reuse an applicator to recoat. I would never reuse a towel to recoat.
No.
Always brand new towels when we're using the coating. Now I'll downgrade them and use the towels for other things.
Mhm.
Maybe if I want to buff off some excess tire dressing
Mhm.
before a car would leave, then I'll just toss that towel. But they just
Yeah.
become junk towels after that.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. What's your policy, Josh, on that about applicators and?
I've got all that built into my pricing, so as soon as we're done with it, it goes in the trash.
Yeah.
I
Same.
mean,
Yep. I think that's just the way to go.
better
That's
safe than
smart.
sorry.
Yes.
Yeah,
Better
you
safe
just
than
don't never
sorry.
cross contaminate.
For sure. Yep. And you know what I noticed with Legend is obviously it's a very high solid, so the applicator gets really hard, right? But even it goes out to those edges. And so even if you were trying to use the other for coating, that's still a little bit risky, because depending on how much pressure you put down, you could be touching ever so slightly with those crusty edges, so even those you have to watch, using that other side for a coating if the other side has dried, because they
Yeah,
get really, really hard, right? The other thing you can
yeah.
do is save one for a sales tool, right? You can
That's what I was
show
going to
the
say.
customer, yeah, I have some on my workbench that I use as sales tools, and I say like, here's what the inspiration feels like when it's cured. Here's what the Legend feels like when it's cured, and it's a good visual that customers that don't know anything about detailing or ceramic can understand just by the feel of that. So that's the other thing, is you can somehow mark them just for using as a sales tool. So cool. Awesome. All right, next one up, we've got Tom says, Sydney, I use natural finish on my both sun dry and wipe dry, and they still were a bit too slick. Any other products? The matte looked great, but were too slick under tennis shoes. So, I had this question come up this weekend also, and what I found with the person that asked it was they weren't fully cleaning it prior to applying the natural finish. So this is something that's super important. So try this, because I don't ever have this issue. I do think that there could be certain mats out there that maybe don't fully absorb the natural finish. I don't generally have that problem, but for me, what I found is this person was cleaning it with a very not super aggressive cleaner. So I only clean my mats with either Undressed or Tempest. What I have found is that pulls out, in the same way that it does on tires, it pulls out all the old dressings, all the old whatever's in that rubber, because it's very porous and absorbs a lot. So same idea where we get sling, if that mat is not fully clean before you put the natural finish on, it's just going to sit on top and it could be too slick. So that would be my first question is how did you prep it? And then was it just kind of one of those odd mats? Because I don't ever have any problem with it being too slick. That was just something that came up for me this weekend, that is, my first cue is, what did you clean it with? Um, and then,
On
try it
the
again. Maybe it
WeatherTex,
might have just been that one mat. WeatherTex,
I
I
was going
don't
to say,
have any problem with. I don't have any
yeah, I was
problem,
going
but
to say, the knockoff WeatherTex, I can see where this question is being raised, because I did that
Mhm.
before, where it was like I don't know, the brand Hercules or something like
Yeah.
that. and it was really, really shiny and slippery. So when I put it in the customer's vehicle, I took a microfiber and I just buffed it down, and it was fine. I actually ended up just putting a little express on it and buffed it down, and it was totally fine. But yeah, I could see how some brands may have more like mold release in their plastic, where it'll fight you, create a barrier where it won't allow it to absorb in, or they're more rubber and less plastic.
Right. And the other thing is maybe just make a note that time, apply the natural finish and then just immediately wipe it off. Maybe just immediately wipe it off. So, try that. But I've never had, I've been doing it with natural finish for about 3 years now. I've never had any issues. I had tried other products, and, my old Durango used to be my fussiest set of mats that I'd ever come across, to be honest. And natural finish was the only one that I could put on them, but I did have to fully wipe it off. So, yeah, that's interesting. It must have just been, kind of I'm not sure.
Maybe
I would
try
just
and dilute your natural finish down just a little bit.
Yeah, dilute the natural
For
finish.
mats.
You could spray it on a towel too and wipe it. And then, like Kyle said, definitely you can always take Express and wipe it down. And I've done that a lot, especially on my own personal vehicle. So I know that works, where it doesn't really ruin the finish of the mat. And I've just done it like maintaining my mats after I put the natural finish on. I'll spray Express on a towel and down, and it turns out great. So try that too. Try wiping them down. Awesome. Got Puerto Rico in the house. Okay, so good morning. I'm a DIYer from Maine. This is John. I'm wondering if P&S offers pre-treat foaming product that can remove the road film haze, or what do you remove it without marring the surface?
Josh, how do you pre-treat a vehicle? I mean, we don't have a pre-treat soap.
Before you wash.
How do you do that?
We actually use Brake Buster out of a foamer.
Yeah.
Okay.
It does great.
Cool. You just run it down like the side of the vehicle.
Yep. Let it dwell for a minute or two and hosed off. It does awesome.
Cool.
I like that because it's pre-diluting it and it's foaming it up, so it's kind of softening the touch of Brake Buster, so it's not going to hurt anything. That's a good pre-treat. I like to use EnviroClean, and I just either in an IK or sprayer, and I spray from the bottom up, let it dwell, and then I do my pre-rinse, and then I go to my contact wash. But P&S does not have a stripping soap, so we just have these various products that can be utilized. You could use Brake Buster like Josh, or you could use EnviroClean in a foamer. That would work great too. It's about emulsifying the grime, the sap, the salt, all that mag chloride, all that junk that's on there. It's about breaking it down before you start washing it.
Yeah. And then Josh, we have a couple questions for you. Follow up to that. Everyone's asking, what dilution do you use in the IK foamer for Brake Buster when using it as a pre-wash?
I've got to run it through my Chemtrol at 4-to-1. So we just put a big pump sprayer.
Yep. Cool. And then Keith says we can use IRS, which it's red soap as a stripper wash.
It's red soap.
Yes. Yep. We have that. I haven't played around with that too much just because as most of you know, I do mostly everything rinseless wash. So I try to not use anything super foamy or anything like that. But so since I brought that up, since I do mainly rinseless wash, I really love Epic as my pre-spray. So I'm obviously not foaming it, but I do pre-spray the entire lower half of the car with Epic, and that starts to break up the dirt and kind of get it ready to be rinsed off, and it makes it a lot easier. So, and then if I have something really crazy bad, definitely EnviroClean.
We should
try foaming it on. So I'm gonna try the
foamer.
I'm gonna try foaming the Brake Buster, that because I have the same dilution set up in my Chemtrol, so that sounds nice and easy. So I'm gonna try that. But I just wanted to mention Epic's also great for those doing rinseless wash. That Epic is a really, really great pre-spray. Cool. I love this one. So Terry says, getting ready to fully detail numerous golf carts. Any recommendations or ideas on products, etc. for doing mini golf carts?
Man, depends on it sounds like golf carts for like an event or a golf course. You could pretty much, most of the surfaces on that, you could pretty much spray natural finish on the entire golf cart. If it's a white golf cart, you could spray the floors, the vinyl seats, everything. I mean, except the pedals, and then let it soak in after you washed it and prepped it, obviously, and then wipe it down and blend it in, and the whole thing will just glow. The floors, the vinyl, all of it. You could wipe down the black pipes, for the roof. You could wipe down the roof with it. If you want to do it quick, because like time is money, get them washed and get them dressed. That's really all the golf cart people do at the golf courses. Yeah. Now, if it's like Sydney's, Keith's golf cart, where it's a nice paint job and it's more of a show golf cart, going around the neighborhood. Yeah, I would probably go more to like the bead maker route on all the shiny plastics, and then use natural finish on the floor and the seats, and treat it more like a car.
Yeah. Yep.
But Sydney's detailed a few golf carts. That's like the neighborhood, like gangster lowriders. I'm joking.
Yeah. I probably do different types of golf carts. Josh, do you do any golf carts?
Nope, we don't hardly do any.
Nope.
No.
Cool. Yeah. So I do a lot of golf carts, but like Kyle said, most of mine are like neighborhood, fancy ones. So, but basically you're kind of going to treat them just like a car. So you'll wash, pretty standard, clean the wheels like normal, clean the glass, all of that, get it dry. And then, I do bead maker on the paint if that's, depending on what the surface is, but usually they're just fiberglass. So just paint or, bead maker, paint gloss work great. I would always use paint gloss kind of as a drying aid because everything will drip all over the place. And then I would use a couple things to note that I would use is I always used wipe and shine on the tires because you apply it with a brush. It's just, brush it on because they usually have pretty small tires. I would always use brake buster on the wheels. And then like Kyle said on the lower plastic, that inner part where you step and walk and all that natural finish, 100% turns it back black. Awesome. And then just, don't spray the pedals because they'll get kind of slippery. And then, I use glass cleaner on the glass, natural finish on the seat, all the kind of good stuff. So yeah, just depending on what they mean by detail, do they want it, shiny and finished looking, or do they just want them clean? But otherwise I would figure out your system, and what might be easier is if you're doing numerous at a time is I would obviously get them all washed, like pick your process and just stay steady. Don't go one by one probably. And then that way it's also going to help you in that, they're dry and ready to go once you are ready to detail them. So, as far as if you're doing any polishing though, really light polish, not aggressive pads. When I did polish mine, it was like a white or black pad with, some NV or some deep finish or something like that, but, pretty easy. So, okay. So they want them to look new again. So, really, really similar to just doing a car. You're going to use a lot of the same products in the same way, but probably natural finish is very much going to be your friend on those, just because there is so many plastic pieces that are faded. If the bottom is too faded, you can absolutely use solution finish. I definitely use that on a couple of them. It does take quite a bit. So you want to factor that into your cost of, restoring all that black plastic. So factor that in, but solution finish works great on them. It really lasts a long time too, depending on how they're stored. Again, the ones in my neighborhood are stored inside. So, take that for what it's worth. But the ones that I did solution finish on, oh gosh, it's probably been 5 or 6 years ago now, still look perfect because they went from the life of living outside to inside. And so, the solution finish still looks great. They've been washed 100 times and still look great. So, kind of just use your same car stuff. Yeah, Prentice says check if the body cart of the cart is auto paint, gel coat, or colored plastic. All 80% of the ones I see are all colored plastic, but there is some definitely with paint on them. And if they're paint, you treat it just like automotive paint. So should be fun. Should be fun. The plastic though, that I will say the windshield, and nothing you're gonna be able to do about that. They get scratched and there's nothing you can do. You can try that, plastic restore and the windows are,
Yeah, that
they're pretty,
plexi is a lot of work.
they're pretty
It's almost
cheap.
it's almost worth
Yep.
replacing.
Yep. Jamie said finally got his coffee. Hello, dudes. Hi, Jamie, and congratulations. Jamie his wife had a baby within the last 2 weeks, and that is super fun. And congratulations. Good to see that you're getting some sleep and you're still able to make your TikToks. I was a little bit worried we weren't going to get any TikToks. It's been hilarious. So thanks for that. Thanks for that. Very cool. All right. Do we have any more? Do you need me to pull one out of the archives, Chris?
You can pull one out of the archives.
Okay, so let's see. I've
We
got about
lots
7.
Lots of comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. We did that one. So
I'm headed to the Instagram to see what questions we have recently received.
yeah, so this is a one for Kyle. What is the best combo for removing scratches and swirls from aircraft aluminum? This is from Gregory Vela.
It depends on, scratches on engine cowling, on leading edges, on the belly. But I mean, if they're marring scratches, there are lots of aircraft aluminum polishing products out there. I mean, we utilize Metal Bright on the Air Force One project, but it's not going to remove scratches. Sometimes you would need to go to a heavier cut and a twisted wool on a rotary to dig out those types of things. Also, depending on where it's at, you can sand on aluminum. But I need a lot more information before I would give recommendations on what to use and where, because aircraft aluminum there's a lot to it, and it's you don't want to diminish around rivets. You don't want to bring sand rivets down, and so this may be one we have to talk about, or I can recommend some friends that do training on aviation, on all types of platforms and airplanes. And
Cool. Okay, so I have some questions for Josh. So one, we want to point out, and I want to hear a little bit about this because I saw the pictures. So Luis Melgoza says, Josh, congratulations on working some of Jay Leno's car collection. So I want you to tell us about that real quick, and then I have a question that I'm going to have you answer.
Okay. So there's about 15 old British sports cars, and one Shelby Cobra, which was pretty awesome. Spent about 3 weeks on him. Jalen was a really cool dude, super humble, down to earth,
And did you go to his shop, or did he bring his cars to your shop?
He was in Waterloo, Iowa, at some big black building in the middle of town that nobody knew what it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just
that's awesome.
2 or 3 guys have the building, have their personal collections in there, and they had kind of a little get together. It was pretty cool.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Okay, so this question I'm going to have you answer. So Bill Buss asks, do you use Dreammaker on every single detail? So kind of elaborate on that. So do you use it every single detail? And if not, where do you throw Dreammaker in to your detailing?
So for us, we use it as a delivery spray for our ceramic coatings. We'll let them cure overnight, and then I'll spray them the next morning and deliver them. We don't typically use it on, our express details or, our full details. It's usually just for our high-end coatings and stuff like that. Give that a little extra pop.
Yeah, cool. That's pretty much what I do too. I use a pre-delivery on regular details too, but pre-delivery it's just awesome. And I know we've talked about that before, but it was just something a little bit unexpected when that product came out. you know, even for me, you know, being on the team that was testing and all that kind of stuff, and I know Kyle and I, we used to talk about it all the time during the testing phase. We were like, what are we going to use this for? What, you know, where does this fit in? And it does make me laugh at how much I actually grab Dream Maker now,
Oh, yeah.
as a pre-delivery spray. So, yeah, I love that. And then we had a question come up that I think we have to address because it was asked on, um, when we posted the notice for this, that, and there's been a lot of talk about it. Jamie, the cleaner, who we just talked about having a baby, he says, yes, he's so tired, but he came up with a mix that now everybody's asking about, and we get emails all the time about it. And so the question is can you mix Dream Maker and Bead Maker? Now, obviously, we know from the PNF side, we know that there's detailers out there that are going to mix the stuff and do all kinds of crazy combinations, and we think that's great. You know, obviously from the manufacturer side, we have to say, you know, don't mix anything, but you know, we know that everybody does. So so that was the question, is can you mix it? And you know, really, I mean, you can mix what you want, but you know, we obviously say we can't guarantee what the results will be. You know, the other reason is we can't say what the perfect dilution is. I have done it myself. That was the question, is Sydney, have you done it? Yes, I have done it myself. Going based off of Jamie's suggestion, which I will tell you guys, go watch his TikToks to see what he does. And because it's pretty great. And yes, I've done it and it works awesome. But you know, we can't officially say, you know, mix anything. But we know detailers do. So and you know, no harm, no foul on that. But have you tried that, or do you have any other mixing combos that you love?
No, I haven't tried it. I got a hard time messing with Bead Maker. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah. Right. Well, good. You're a rule follower. That's better than myself. Very cool. So first from Puerto Rico says, Jamie the cleaner released in his last video explaining how he stumbled upon the mix, and it's pretty cool. So you know, feel free to watch those and play around if you want.
I mean, code.
Yeah, he did. And you know, it's pretty great, but we always, you know, warn, be careful. And I think Jamie's mix is really safe. So it's not, you know, it's not going to compromise either product. So very cool. Very cool. Lots of people checking in saying, hey.
And now I'm having a hard time seeing anything. I had to grab my sunglasses.
This is a great question for both you guys. It's a terrible question for me, but well, I shouldn't say that. I just have a way different answer. So Abraham says, where do you spend your marketing dollars? So Josh, what do you focus your marketing budget on?
Most of mine goes to Facebook anymore.
Okay.
I get really good returns off that. And then we sponsor some car clubs every year, get our, you know, logos on their t-shirts, stuff like that.
Cool.
You know, that has pretty good returns. We used to do radio, stuff like that, but it's just kind of going away. I mean,
yeah. And then when you say you do Facebook, do you just are you sponsoring certain posts, or like what are your posts like your work, or do you have advertising posts? Like what does that look like for you?
Most of the time it's just, you know, our work, and you know, we don't run too many sales or specials or anything like that.
Okay.
We boost posts or we run ads for our services.
Okay, cool.
You know, probably 3-4 weeks, probably 3-4 times a month. You know, run for 2-3 days. Awesome.
Kyle,
cheap.
Where do you? Yeah, it is right. That's great that you have a return on it.
Josh,
Kyle, where do you spend your marketing dollars?
Josh's answer was great because I don't spend a lot of money on marketing anymore. I think the personal relationships with people have benefited me in the long run now. So building relationships with my customers and then referring their friends, asking for referrals. I got really good at asking for referrals many years ago when I served a mission for my church. So I just utilized that in my detailing, and having good content. I don't overwhelm my social media with pictures every day. I'm usually on PNS's Instagram more than I am my own, but having, you know, some consistent stuff or showing off good things tagging properly, tagging your area properly, and your customers will talk about you and they'll tell you, to their friends. And I spent my marketing money on my van recently. I re-wrapped my van. I made it more legible. I liked my logo before, but every edition of my logo has gotten away from this water look that I had a long time ago, and it's gotten more corporate looking. And to make my phone number, my website, and the name more legible, I saw a guy going down the road the other day, and from 20 feet away, I had no idea what it was he was selling. I saw detailing, but I couldn't see the phone numbers, couldn't see what he did, couldn't see anything. So make sure that if you're gonna have a wrap, that it's legible, that it sends the message of what you do. I put on the side of mine icons of cars, boats, RVs, because people don't read. And so that way people can see the different types of vehicles we work on. So yeah, I market in a different way than on just social media. Now, if things got slow, or if I, wasn't continuing on to be as busy as I am, I probably would start marketing on Instagram. That's where I have more of my content there.
Yeah. And my answer is kind of the same. Really, I put almost all my effort into my referral program. So all of my customers find me through personal referral. But I think Kyle hit on something that I think is really important. And I think that is your business branding and logo. You have to have something memorable. And I think that, just in today's age, our minds are very short attention span, just because there's so much information out there on social media and advertising. Like, it's really overwhelming. And so I think you really want to make sure that your logo sets you apart. And I think that, both Josh and Kyle have really good logos. Kyle's obviously mobile, Josh is fixed, but those logos are very memorable. And, and I can't remember what study I read, but this was probably 15 years ago, that they were saying a customer has to see a logo 8 times before it becomes kind of ingrained in their mind. And so the more you can get your logo out there, and just, and like Kyle said, ease of use for getting a hold of you, an easy to read phone number, an easy understanding of what it is that you do, is really, really important. So I think that, your branding is super important to go in hand with your marketing. And then, everything these two said is awesome. I think that, Facebook, I've seen that it is super helpful. I mean, I know even for me, I have reached out for services based upon those Facebook, the sponsored posts. There are things that I wouldn't otherwise see, so I think that's a great, I know it works on me as a consumer. I don't do it for my business, but as a consumer, it absolutely works. So I think that's really, really great. Awesome.
Yeah, there's many ways to market. I mean, if you really want to get into it, you can get involved in the community. Oscar does a great job of that, involved in his local charities, and he's involved in Rotary Club, and he's involved in Chamber of Commerce and all those types of things. That's where you really want to set yourself up for success in the long term. Put in work there. If you want to become a name in the community, that I didn't have to. I got to benefit from my family's involvement in politics and my dad's involvement as a police officer and knowing everyone in the city. So that benefited me. And I still do work for people that I've been working for since I was 17 years old, 16 years old when I first was driving. I've been working for people that long. So over 20 years, I've done people's vehicles for them because of that connection. So you can build those connections. I actually was talking about Zach yesterday with my wife, how he's starting up his shop up there in Coeur d'Alene, and that's the first thing I would do. I even told her, I said, we're discussing things happening here in California. And I told her, I said, if we had to move and start all over, I could rebuild my business in 6 months. And if the economy was still doing well, that's also a factor. But just getting out there, getting seen and starting up, hiring people. I had to move to another state. I know what it takes now. I didn't know what it took back then.
Right.
And when you're focused, you can go get those things done.
Yep. Very cool. Prentice wanted us to throw in, which I wasn't aware of this yet, so this is awesome. So there is PNS events in Iowa in May. So the Inspiration Certification class at Carousel in Iowa City on May 13th. And then there's an IDA meet and greet that night, and then a PNS demo day at MCK Sales in Williamsburg, Iowa on May 14th. So that is super awesome. Chris, do you know if we have links up to those yet or no? Or are those coming?
It's the first I've heard of them too.
Okay. Well, Prentice, get us that information and we'll get those up so that we have links for those. But watch for those, and this is still early for those events for that information to come out. So, but thanks for the heads up on that, Prentice. That's great to bring that up, and we will start advertising that as soon as all of that is ready to go. But that is super cool. I know we get requests for those certification classes, especially on the East Coast and through the Midwest and stuff. And so that's awesome. That will be good.
Yeah, since we're talking about events, I have an event coming up at 3D in Montclair, California on April 11th. We're going to be doing an RV fiberglass polishing class, kind of like what I did at Uber Detail previous years. And I'll bring a toy hauler or a trailer with me, kind of like, well, not like the one behind me, but a smaller one. And we will polish on an RV and answer questions. And so go to 3D in Montclair is where you're going to sign up if you wanted to go there. I know the 28th we have a sold out event at Uber Detail. We're doing a inspiration ceramic coating class, so we're going to do all the inspiration line there, which is going to be great. And then April 2nd at Hot Wax in Stanton, California, down in Orange County, we're going to do another inspiration ceramic coating certification. Cool. And that one has not even been announced yet. So that'll go up on our social media soon.
That's May 2nd, Kyle, right?
It's May 2nd. You're right. May 2nd. Yeah. May 2nd. You're right. Thank you, Chris. It's Monday, May 2nd.
Yeah. So we have good opportunity to point out we have a lot of events coming up. There's lots of pop-up events all over the place. So make sure that if you don't already kind of pay attention to our social media, just every now and then click the link in our bio. Chris keeps that really well organized, super easy to navigate. So make sure that you check that link often in our bio, as it has all of our, all of the trainings coming up and everything like that. That's the one-stop shop to see kind of what's going on as far as trainings. And I know we have a couple spots left for our training early next month in Hayward. So you can check that if you're interested in that. And then this is also a good opportunity because I just realized this is our last Bead Maker and Coffee prior to TRCMA. So So make sure you tune in next week. Make sure you're following the Rag Company, the Rag Company's YouTube channel. Team PNS is on Thursday of next week. It's the 31st, and we are in the afternoon slot. So make sure you follow that as we have some big announcements, lots of fun stuff going on. So you won't want to miss that live. So make sure you tune in to TRCMA as a lot of the Team PNS will be in Boise next week. And we've got some really good stuff coming up.
You so speaking of that,
Yeah. So speaking of being in Boise, Kyle, I think we're going to have to make a video on this next week when you're here. So Kyle and I have a little bit of time to be working on some videos and stuff prior to TRCMA. So this might be one that we need to throw in because I actually got this question a lot in Redmond because, you know, they are very recreational over there too. So this was a question that came up. So Kyle, a few episodes ago, you mentioned using bead maker in a foam cannon. Do you rinse it before drying and buffing? So go ahead and answer that, and then we need to definitely put this on our fun video to-do
So,
list.
you can, I mean, on an RV or on a car, if it's already washed and clayed and it's still wet, then you use the bead cannon and use bead maker. And what you're looking for is those tight beads to be running down the sides. It kind of has a very light, milky look, like the bead maker is kind of sudsed up a little bit. And as soon as you feel enough time to dwell, you can continually add a light mist of it, then go ahead and rinse it off and dry it. Fully rinse it off. But I also like to keep it wet. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll just spray water on the side of an RV to keep the bead maker wet. You don't want it to dry on the surface. You want to keep it wet. You want the cross linkers, you want everything to bond. And this is a perfect opportunity for you to find areas that are not accepting it. So sometimes I'll actually take like a California water blade and I'll squeegee that area and I'll hit it again. And what happens is there's water that is not allowing the bead maker to touch the surface and bond. As soon as you get that bonding, you're good. So rinse it and then dry it. And it's a great way to do a quick maintenance or wax on a large vehicle. It'll work great on most surfaces. I'm looking at some of the RVs around me right now. The one right next to me is nice and shiny. The one over here probably won't work too well. This thing, and it's because I can see it has oxidation buildup, and so it's not going to bond. You need a good surface. On Sydney's car, it'll work great. On my truck, it'll work great. But on that Bronco, probably not going to work too great because that paint has some problems. So yeah, we'll do some. I've been wanting to get together and do some bead cannon videos.
Yeah.
And bring it out. So maybe we'll make that happen. We can bead cannon the Mini Cooper.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun.
Or a trailer.
That'd be fun. Awesome.
Or the house.
Awesome. Josh, have you ever tried the bead cannon?
I have not.
I haven't either. I'm going to try it next week when Kyle's here. I've been too afraid. But one thing that I do want to mention, and Kyle, talk about the dilution of it, because that was specifically the question that came up this week.
It's full strength.
Tried it. Yeah. So somebody tried it with their water all the way on. So I was like, oh, no, you want to use as little, have as little as amount of water going through as possible. So you turn it all the way down so that you're using you want to be using the bead maker full strength.
It's the foam cannon is the way of shooting it at the vehicle. It's the propulsion system, right? So the reason we did this is because, I mean, literally on a good RV that a customer just wants a wax on and they're okay with it lasting 2 to 3 months, not anything crazy. I can wash the RV. I can hit the entire RV within, less than 3 minutes. Just walk around it. I can come back around and keep it wet, allow it to bond, rinse it off, and we can dry it, and we're done. I mean, we're literally adding 5 to 10 minutes to a normal wash, and making 2-3 times the amount of money, but we're providing a good product on it, and it almost makes it feel buttery soft. It's kind of crazy. I'm excited to show you because it's a whole other level of protection with bead maker when you use it that way. I feel it's smoother. And my buddy Paul, who's probably not on here because he's working, he's the one that came up with that idea, and I just ran with it. So it saved me a lot of time and made me a lot of money. Hi, Piper.
Hi, Piper. She can't stand up that tall. She's very short. That's awesome. So Jamie says bead cannon video is going to break the internet. Yep. We're going to pretend like the Mini Cooper's an RV, and we're going to bead cannon it. It's
I
about
have
the same size,
I have
right?
some video doing it. Yeah. I can put your Mini Cooper in my trailer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my Mini
But
Cooper is still smaller than your
I've
Razor.
been talking to a guy that's going to come out and do some video work for me because I want to make a really great video.
Yeah.
And the videos I've made have just been with my cell phone.
Yeah.
So
We'll make a fun
if I can
TikTok
get
with
this
it.
guy out, make a good video, I'll bring the drone and we can let the drone fly above and show us bead cannoning from above.
Cool.
So cool.
Awesome. So probably have one last question that I think is going to be for Josh, as neither Kyle or I have a building. So Abraham asks, what would be the right time to buy a building? And so question for you would be, do you own the building you're in? Do you rent? And from a detailer's perspective, who owns a shop? Because I obviously work at home and Kyle's mobile. What do you feel like as a shop owner? What is the best avenue, especially when it's going to be a first time shop? So kind of what is your situation? What's your advice there?
We rent ours.
Okay.
Buying a building, it depends on the area you're in. I probably wouldn't ever buy a building, where I'm at. Just, real estate's pretty high. It's a college town. My rent's not horrible. Place is set up perfect for it. So, I mean, I would never buy a building.
Yeah. And that kind of would have been my initial feeling too, is just that, especially if it's your first shop and things like that, that's a huge commitment, a really, really big commitment that could, really put a lot of stress on, being the business owner that, I feel like the majority of the detailers that I speak with, they're all leasing or renting their space. There's a few who own the building, but they've, kind of worked towards that goal with, a lot of steps in place. It's definitely not something that happens fast, but, because anything can happen. And especially, looking forward at, just kind of the world right now and the economy, I'd be hesitant to purchase a building because, and as with anything, even, I mean, we could have health conditions that pop up, or, the economy could have a struggle, or, something could happen to your business. I just think that purchasing a building is a really, really, that's a huge step up. So I would, if you're looking at buying a building, I would maybe reach out to detailers who do own their building, because I think it's pretty few and far between, and I think that it's been a long time getting to that place. So I would my initial feelings would be careful about that. Maybe look
I would
into,
talk to a real estate agent and get the pros and cons of each. I could see I could see a few benefits. So, I mean, for me in California, if I was to own a building, I'm also going to hope that I could sublease and make some money off that building, not just my own business. So it needs to be large enough for that. And then there's all sorts of problems that you run into then. And then if you ever sell the building, you're going to pay a ton in taxes. If you, so there's a lot of benefits to renting your building, especially if you plan on being there a long time and you make those improvements that you need. Or if you know that you're going to grow and you're going to expand, then you don't need to make invest as much into it. So do the pros and cons list and figure out what's best for you. Chris, what shirt are you wearing today?
Oh, good question. I was going to say, hold on, I'm making my camera work. I wanted to jump in on this one a little bit. Not that I'm a building buying expert, but there is, Sydney was talking about the risk involved, and there are definitely times in our history or over the years where there's more risk than other times, right? But there's always going to be risk. I mean, you're never going to be free of those what ifs. I think my advice is you got to get somebody smarter than the four of us for sure. And
for sure.
Them involved. Find yourself a good mentor that can help coach you through that stuff. I do know that, I'm putting words in Rennie's mouth right now, but I can imagine some of the advice he might give would be, if you're buying a building, you got to make sure you have some cash saved up to be able to pay for that building for when times get slow, just in case they do.
Yep.
That's a common thing that he would say. But other than that, there are guys that do own their own buildings, and one of the fastest ways or best ways to build up your wealth is to own property too. So it's definitely a
Yep.
worthwhile thing to look into.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And just like everyone's saying, check with all the right people, your CPA, check the tax implications, and if you have the ability to, sublease other parts out, then that could be a really good, everybody's situation is going to be different, really. I mean, so that's hard to answer. You really have to talk to the people advising you and making sure that that's the right thing for you, for sure.
But yeah, Kyle, so the shirt today is just my my very own Octane Detailing shirt.
Octane Detailing. Awesome.
So
my head was cold, so I was wearing my Extreme Detailing hat today. My head was freezing out here.
There you go.
That's funny. Very cool. All right. Well, that probably wraps up our hour of Bead Maker and Coffee. Thank you so much, Josh, for joining us. That was super awesome to have you and your your knowledge of the product and detailing. We love that. We love to highlight detailers and the work they do. So thank you so much. And we will look forward to seeing more about your Apprentices event in May. And watch for us 2 weeks from today. We'll just be getting back from Boise and TRCMA, right?
Get on the Bead Maker Lounge
Yeah.
newsletter.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because we're going to be announcing products there after TRCMA. We'll be talking about some of them there. So if you want to see what we are bringing out at TRCMA, then you may want to hop on.
Yeah. Yep.
And we'll be on, the right after, right? No, it's
the Monday following, which will be perfect. Yep. That'll be perfect. We'll have all kinds of stuff to talk about.
Cool.
Very cool. Well,
thanks,
you
everybody.
guys have an awesome day, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Josh.